so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What is happening? It's Two Guys and a Goalie on a beautiful, chilly Tuesday, December 2nd, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, joined by Joaquin Gage, the goalie, Matt Kassian, the player, and you're stuck with me. Jay Milne here, pitching in for Dusty, who is not in right now. A reminder that Two Guys and a Goalie is brought to you by GS Construction, who is hiring now. GS Construction is looking for experienced pipe layers, operators, topmen, and superintendents. Visit gsconstruction.ca. Fellas, how are we doing today?
Cass?
I'm good.
All right.
I dominated some grade 5 kids today with ball hockey.
Oh, yes.
Expand.
So that was good.
Yeah, expand. We need the story on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better finish that, Cass.
Well, my oldest daughter in grade 5, she came home, it was late last week, and she's like, Dad, we're doing ball hockey in gym at school right now, and we're doing a big tournament, and it's girls versus boys, and the boys just beat us 9-2. And then she just kind of looks at me, and she just is like, Dad, I told Mr. O, like Mr. O is her teacher, it's like I told Mr. O that my dad played in the NHL, and I asked Mr. O, can my dad come and play for the girls team next time we play ball hockey at gym? And then she hands me this little, like, it's like she ripped the corner out of her like day timer or some piece of paper at work, and she's like, it was written like this tiny little. So this thing is like 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch little scrap of paper, and she's like, "This is the time it starts. This is the time it ends. Like, can you be there on Tuesday next week?" Mr. O said it's okay. And I was like, well, honey, like I probably got to email Mr. O and call and make sure, and got to move some things around from a work standpoint, but I'll try, honey. And she was like, okay. And it basically was all she talked about the entire weekend. And then on Monday, and so I did have to ultimately email her teacher and was like, hey, if you don't want this to happen, I can just say no. I was like, I can say no, and I don't have to be there for this. But he's like, no, it'd be fun. He's like, the kids are getting pretty amped up about it, and because my daughter's obviously telling all the boys, she's like, yeah, my dad played in the NHL and he fought all the time. So I guess there's one little kid. There's one of the kids. It's like he's in boxing. I don't know if he's like a Golden Glove kid or whatever, but like he's in boxing. Apparently, he's a pretty good boxer. And she's like, Dad, this kid, he's gonna fight you. And I'm like, well, probably not going to fight him. I mean, tell him I've been in like 200 something or whatever fight. I've been in a lot of fights, but I'm not going to fight him at school because I don't want to get in trouble with the school. I don't want to have to go to detention. She's like, fine. So I think she told them. But the boys were all fired up about it because she was like pumping my tires. The girls were fired up because they actually wanted to win. Needless to say, we won. Kept it close. But the girls, so we called ourselves Team Minions. So Team Minions. We won a big game. And then all the girls expect me to be back next week when they do it again, but we'll see. So it was good, good game. Tried to set up a lot of the girls. Wanted them to be the ones to score that game-winning goal.
A lot of apples.
It was getting
a lot of apples.
I was trying for it. Well, it was a low-scoring game, low event hockey, guys. It ended up being 2-1. I put a couple off the crossbar. This was like really bendy sticks. You remember like those all plastic, like so
white
it took a
with
little
like
bit.
The blue.
Yep. The blue blade, like, and ours were the red ones. Girls team was the red ones, and it's like those were so whippy. Like, it was first couple shots were nowhere near, but I started to get the hang of it, get used to the flex. But yeah, it was coming down to the wire. I knew we were running out of time from a period standpoint when it was going to be over, and they were going to have to go to recess or snack or whatever they had next. And so I was like, all right, time to put the hammer down. And then I tried a lot harder for like a minute until we scored and got the lead.
One?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. And it was in a 2-on-1 situation, and it's like I could have passed it. I could have passed it. I think it was actually my daughter too on the other side. So it's with my daughter in a 2-on-1, and I looked across, and I mean, he's a little grade 5 goalie, and I looked her off. Like I looked at her the whole time, but I saw a little bit of an opening, and I'm like, I'm not trying to go upstairs on this one because I know with that whippy stick, it's hard to control if I really lean into it. So I basically I went short side above the pad, kept it low, tucked it in there, and big win, huge win.
Nice.
So I do have daughters that are in elementary as well, and there's boys, and some of them can be rude at times. Some of them can call names. Cass, I would have used this as an opportunity to run one of those little shits over and completely, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there, little Timmy. Did you take advantage of that situation at all? Slashes?
No. There's because you get to grade 5, and it's like, that's when there can be like their kids start having like crushes and that sort of thing. So I'm paying attention to that sort of stuff. And the one kid that I'm like, you watch it, kid. I didn't really get an opportunity. But I'll like, here's the thing. And I don't know, and maybe you guys could tell me this, because I don't know, because I don't have boys, right? I don't have boys. And I had brothers. So it's like, I understand the rough and tumble, but I'm like, I don't understand having boys as a dad. And but for me, I'm like, if I was playing ball hockey against the girls, and like if it was against my girls, it's like I'm gonna be gentle, like I'm gonna let them get their points and score and do all the things. But I'm like, if I'm playing boys, I'm ruthless. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but with those little grade 5 boys, I'm like, no, you're not taking this from me. I'm like, no, you're gonna try to get by me. I'm not letting you get by me. Like this is not, especially in that environment where I'm like, we are winning this game. I'm like, I'm not giving these boys a free pass. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, guys. I don't know if you.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you're representing your daughter. So to your daughter and her friends, you're a hero. To the boys, right, you're a hero. Obviously, with your background in the NHL, it's different. It's different than if I was the teacher too, right? Because Mr. O, it's like he's got to balance that, right? Like he's got to, and he's actually he's a world class athlete in himself. Scratch golfer still. He's a good young guy, but he's a tremendous athlete as well. But he's got to balance it, and I get that. He's probably happy if you were to rub one of those kids out on the wall and hey, Cass, can you just go to that guy next? You're doing the Lord's work with him, I think.
Trying.
You guys are such in a different place than me. Like a boy came over to hang out with my daughter, right? And I'm like, the first
who is he? Where's he at, dude? Let's go.
Well, the first thing he comes through the door, and I'm like, can I take this guy? I'm definitely gonna be sore tomorrow if it comes. Like he's probably
a big boy.
It's gonna be tough, right? But I think just
Gager, make the call.
Fish hooks.
I will get in my car and I will drive there and we will threaten this kid. We will threaten him, and if we have to, we will fight him, and I will do it with you.
Yeah, it's rough because even last night. So my daughter did a little show last night for a hip hop show over at the Orange Hub, or whatever. And we all went, family all went, mother-in-law, father-in-law, all there, and afterwards she took a car because she was there all day preparing and getting outfits and all that stuff. And afterwards we went home and she was out. She was actually at the Joey's. They all went for dinner afterwards. And it's a different level when you're waiting up for your kids to come home.
Oh no.
So it was getting late. And if you want, I can actually read you because my daughter, this is the background. very difficult to get up in the morning. And I don't have anything. I know, you're driving, get to school, right? So I wrote her this at 11:30 last night as she's still at the restaurant. Just looking at my calendar, and it says today is Monday. That means tomorrow is Tuesday. Tuesday is a school day. 11:30 out at night on a school night. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And she goes, yes, I'm just paying. They're kind of slow. So didn't get home till a little bit after midnight, which is tough because I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can't until she's safe.
Yeah.
At home.
So, but I don't sit downstairs in the chair. My wife does that. I can't sit there. I'll fall asleep anyways. But I went upstairs and was laying down and just waiting, looking, browsing the internet, and then 11:30, and of course I can see where she's at on the phone too, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, still at Joey's. Come on, time to come home. So
Moving.
That's what you guys have to look forward to is out with the car late, saying, Dad, can I come home 45 minutes later? And it's like, yeah.
Big kids, big problems, right? Like that's what my other friends too. One of them says, like, it's got older kids. He's like, yeah, man, big kids, big problems. Like it's different. You worry about different things. It's like what I would do, what my advice to you is looking back at it and having the same outlook at floor hockey games, you lay those little pricks out. All right. Because all you're going to do is send a vibration. It's throwing a rock into a lake, and those ripples will hit all those young men that will think, well, I really like Kassian, but her dad's really mean. Well, you know what? I don't want to be. No, I don't want to be mean, Dad. Though I don't want to be mean. I don't want her dad really. Well, maybe. But her dad has a tremendous capacity for violence. That's what. He's not mean, but he has a tremendous capacity for violence. Yeah, that's.
Next thing you know, you'll be getting the note from the school psychologist. Yeah. We need to have mommy and daddy in with your daughter. Hey, look, a reminder that EST is presented by Play Alberta. The new codes, they've been moved over into December, so it's EST. Is it sports? EST Sports. Deposit $50, you get a $50 free bet courtesy of Play Alberta. You can experience all the excitement of the casino in the palm of your hand. Download the Play Alberta app today. And of course, I'm reading two different lines. Your digital destination for casino, live dealers, lottery instants, and of course, sports betting. Head on over to playalberta.ca or download the app. Okay, Oilers, Wild. It's happening tonight. We got to talk a little bit about, Saturday's game, because I think that was an important game for the Oilers. Then we'll get into tonight. We'll get into the expected lineup, some questions leading into tonight's game. But let's talk about that win in Seattle, because I look back, okay? The last time that I filled in and hosted for Dusty on Two Guys was after they had beat Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the first period that they came out with in that game? That was probably the best first period start that they've had this season. And lo and behold, here I sit again the first Two Guys after a pretty gritty performance by that team. Physical play, special teams were perfect. Stu Skinner pitched a shutout. It's obviously a good recipe for success, specifically the physical, edgy play, which I think every Oilers fan would be looking for. But do you think this is something that they can, duplicate? Because they have yet to do that yet this year, where you've seen them turn the corner and start to build on that momentum. Cass, is this something where, okay, maybe this is different this time and they can build on that? Or you just jury's out until you see what happens in the first period of tonight's game?
Yeah, jury still is out. It still is out. However, I say, a couple things. First, I think we have to wipe that Dallas game. Just wipe it. And the more I thought about, the more I'm like, that game needs to be wiped. Like, just circumstantially, it was going to be a loss. And I know people hate that, but I'm like, that game was going to be a loss. And it doesn't matter if you lost 1-0 or if you lost 8-1 or 10-1, whatever. I'm like, you were going to lose that game. And people don't like hearing that. That's the reality of that situation from a physical standpoint, from an energy standpoint. That's where the team was at coming off of that road trip. So if I wipe that game, if we wipe that Dallas game, a situational loss, I kind of go, they beat Florida before that, played a pretty good game, and they had a really good game against Tampa. You don't end up winning, but they probably should have won that game. So I kind of go, okay, if we wipe that Dallas game, that's 3 games in a row now, really, where they have started to play better. And so I'm encouraged by it. I think it is moving in the right direction, especially stylistically, how they won that game against Seattle. So I am hopeful that things have turned. I am hopeful that they can keep this rolling, but I am not all the way there yet because they still have had just too many times this season so far where they've been inconsistent.
Joaquin?
Yeah, like we've all said it. I think everyone here is just we don't know what team's going to show up every night, right? And so it's very difficult to predict these types of things because in this season so far, there really hasn't been that continuation from one game to the next. Poor play, but not solid good play like we saw last Saturday night. And I know the mantra is like what they'll say is one game at a time. You know, we're trying to build here. We're trying to get back to a place where our game is at a level that's consistent and difficult to play against. But to me anyways, I liked at least not looking too far into the future, right? But even a team like if your goal is the playoffs. So, and Cass, teams have probably done this too. You cut the whole season into segments, right? So, and it worked out kind of well with those games on the road. So that was kind of a segment. But now you have this homestand, right? And you kind of treat it, although you're playing different competition every night, as a playoff series, right? That's how I would kind of look at this. Okay, we're going into a new section of the season. We want to make sure we win that best of 7, right? And you accomplish that goal, and then you move forward. So although it's looking a little bit into the future, but it gives you a little bit of a carrot, which I thought I enjoyed that more. Those cutting the seasons into segments. So, and maybe that's what they need a little bit more, right? I think just looking ahead and looking forward to something, because let's face it, the start of the season, this team looked completely disinterested and kind of like, oh my gosh, we got to go through 82 of these things. So finding goals within the season, I think, is important. Because, well, let's face it, they have to have a really good homestand here.
And it couldn't come at a better time, right? To have, with 7 games in 11 days on a road trip that was dubbed as, it's going to be their toughest road trip of the year. That's done.
Yeah.
And you know what? They fared out 500. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Considering Murderer's Row that you went through to do
the type of play that we saw was poor.
Yeah. But
the good was good, right? So they got to find that. They got to find a consistent level of play.
I guess maybe a bigger question right now, guys, is, the Oilers are 11-10-5. There's, right now they're 6 points out of the top of the Pacific Division. Anaheim's just keeps doing what they're doing. But they're not in a terrible spot. It's not like they're tanking. And given the Pacific Division, which we're going to get into for hired or fired, just how much parity there is in the Pacific Division, this, breaking that into chunks might be the key to success here, and say, okay, this 5-game homestand, we've got to come out, at least get, 7 points, say. Cass, did you, when you were playing, is that something that varied from coach to coach in terms of how the outlook of the season would be? Would you do that? Would you separate it into mini series?
Yeah, most teams break it into chunks. Now, some will do like 10 games, or what'll be like the first one's like 12, and then 10 games, whatever, if you got an 82-game season. Some coaches will do it smaller, where you do break it into like 6 or 7 game chunks, like kind of where you're home or on the road. Some just do straight 10-game segments. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. I think more often in the NHL, they kind of do a combination of both. where it'll be like, for example, you do that whole road trip, that long road trip, 7-Eleven. It's like you're breaking down that 7-Eleven. Like that road trip, that's a chunk. That's a segment of games, and you're going to talk about that segment of games. And you're going to focus on that road trip, just like, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, this is a homestand, so we're going to focus on these games from a homestand standpoint. And I think it's valuable. It's good. That's important. At the end of the day, it still comes down to what you're doing on a night-by-night basis. Like the segments and the goal setting for those, it's a good practice to have. But I don't know. I mean, I still just think the ultimate focus for this group needs just to be on whatever night it is. I mean, I don't want this group for the Oilers thinking too much about these long segments. I don't want them thinking about anything but this game against Minnesota. Right? I don't want them thinking about the playoffs. I don't want them thinking about this or that game in 4 games or 5 games. Like, I want them thinking about playing Minnesota and thinking about how they can build off of last game against the Seattle Kraken and play with that same type of intensity and bring it against the Minnesota team. That's a pretty darn good hockey team.
Well, yeah, speaking of Minnesota, 8-0-2 in their last 10 starts. I mean, this team is on fire. Here's how the Oilers are looking to line up. These are the projected lineups tonight. Not that they mean anything, fellas. But you got McDavid in between Savoy and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Mangiapane, RNH, the Nuge in between Henrique and Janmark, and Lazar centering Frederick and Clattenburg. On the back end, you got Ekholm and Bouchard, Nurse and Regula, Kulak and Emberson, and Stuart Skinner will be getting the start in the pipes tonight. I mean, look at Minnesota. They're on fire. They have an 11-game point streak. They've beaten Colorado, Carolina, Vegas, Winnipeg recently. But goaltending has been next level for this team. They've allowed 3 goals once in the last 14 games. 3 goals once in the last 14 games. And Jesper Wallstedt is 7-0-0 in his last 7 starts while picking up 3 shutouts, fellas. I mean, this is outerworldly. Gager, I'm going to go to you first. You got a hot team. You got a goaltender that's playing out of his mind in Jesper Wallstedt. Is it just too simple to say get traffic in front of that net, the goaltender tonight, or what do you think a plan of attack would be to at least give the Oilers an opportunity to be successful tonight?
Now, granted, I haven't watched a lot of Wild games, but we had Jesse Pierce on yesterday talking, and we posed the question, what's been the strength? And she says, of course, it's a goaltending, but it's the overall defensive structure of the team. And she had she had mentioned a good friend of our boy Cass here is the play of Jared Spurgeon, their captain. He is going up against the top guys all the time, and he's not a big dude. And I don't think I'm not sure of the actual stat she spit out, but it was like no one scores 5-on-5 against Jared Spurgeon when he's out there, right? He doesn't allow any goals. So saying that and what she kind of says, the Oilers have to establish a little bit more of a physical kind of structured forecheck to try to, get pucks deep, get hits, and get the pucks turned over and quick counters in the offensive zone, right? I don't think you're going, just because of the structure of this team, it's going to be very difficult to generate a lot of things off the rush, I think, tonight. I could be mistaken, but I think the keys to victory, to get on the scoreboard against a team that's probably the best defensive team in the league right now, is to get on their D, finish checks, try to create turnovers, make them do something that they don't want to do, and then quick turnarounds. Like, you can't be looking for I love when there's an aggressive forecheck, the puck's turned over, and it might be one pass, at most 2, before you turn that puck around and get a shot on net, because you have a goaltender right now that when your team's playing that well and when you have full possession of the puck, there's a little bit of a tendency to relax because you've witnessed what they're able to do. If you can cause those turnovers with quick shots against, almost catching them off guard a little bit, right? You see a lot of goals in the NHL happen that way. And I think that's to have the success offensively, I think that's the kind of game structure or game plan you need to have for the Edmonton Oilers.
I think
is
it'd be
that
tough, though.
yeah,
Very tough.
Because if you look at the way this Minnesota Wild's team is composed, and for years, Minnesota has been like that defensive team, right? They've been that defensive team, and it's only recently, the last couple of years, with Kirill Kaprizov, really since Marian Gaborik, he's the first guy where it's like that offensive punch is there, like that superstar offensive guy is there, and Kaprizov is that. Now they've managed to build around him, and they've managed to bring in other pieces or develop other pieces like Matt Boldy, who's just spectacular. Got to watch him this summer skating out in Minnesota and watch him on the ice doing drills with guys, and he got all the tools: big, strong, quick release, good accuracy. Like, it's just, he is an absolute player, and he puts up the goals to show for it with 15 goals in the season so far. Like, the guy scores. So it's like you have some older veteran guys in like a Hartman and a Zuccarello, and Zuccarello came back from injury and has been even a catalyst in helping this team. But it's like you have some offensive guys there, but they have never lost that defensive identity as a team and as a defensive core. Like their core is, we don't talk about it that often because no one ever talks about Minnesota, although they're starting to with this 8-0-2 run that they're on. But even the top pairing, like Brock Faber, another young defenseman that shoots right, that is a spectacular defenseman, puts up points offensively, but moves incredibly well, plays well defensively. His partner in Jonas Brodin, also big, also can put up points, also moves incredibly well. So it's like, even for those two guys, it's like you can hit them, but they don't shy away from physical contact. Faber and Brodin don't shy away from it. Middleton is not a guy that shies away from it either. He's a big body back there. Now plays a more steady defensive game, and combine that with Jared Spurgeon, and that's where they shut guys down. Now, Little Spurge is slick. He's hard to hit. He's hard to hit. Like, if you get a piece of him, usually you're not getting a piece of him cleanly. Like, you're going to bump him, but it's difficult to run him over because his situational awareness on the ice is spectacular, and he is incredibly poised. And he is incredibly evasive on the ice when he has the puck. Now, when he doesn't have the puck, he is incredibly smart. And Middleton, with his defensive game, like, he's incredibly smart too. So it's like, I think, Gager, you're right. And then you have to find ways to disrupt. I just think you can't get frustrated when the disruption isn't working, right? Like, it's not like, hey, we haven't really been able to get to these guys. Let's try to switch it up. It's like, no, we have to keep trying this and keep working through it, because they're not easy guys to just get in their face and to try to run them over and to try to, be overly physical on them. And even their third pairing. I mean, Bogosian doesn't play a ton of minutes. And I think who's his pairing?
Zeev
BM is there as well. Yeah, but kid's 19, looks like he's going to be an absolute stud at some point as well. Like, really good. I think this is
average ice time is like a little over 17 minutes too, right? So
yeah, he's a University of Denver guy. Yeah, so I hear about him all the time because my business partner is a Denver University guy. So they're all whatever. They talk about their Denver University guys, the NCAA school. But they're a extremely mobile and smart defensive unit. Incredibly smart. So it's a challenge. And now that the offense seems to be catching up with the rest of the Minnesota Wild, they're in good place and in a good place. And goaltending, that you guys already mentioned that, and that helps too. You get good defending, and then you have some good goaltending on top of it, and you become tough to beat, which is why they're 8-0-2 in the last 10.
I also asked Jesse about just looking into the future, because I think Minnesota will most likely be a playoff team. Where would they be looking to bolster their lineup, right? Where would Bill Guerin kind of look to see? And she mentioned that it would be down the middle, right? And that's kind of the strength of the Edmonton Oilers a little bit, right? But still, I mean, they still have some really good centermen, which is fascinating to me that she would say that that's the kind of where they would like the true number one, I guess, is what she said. I guess, I don't know. when you look at their lineup, there's not really that big stud center, but that's the place where you look down the middle of the Edmonton Oilers, and I would say that's one of their main strengths.
Do you think the Oilers have the top, if you go line 1, line 2, line 3, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, is that the best three centers on 3 different lines in the NHL?
Yep. That's the best 1, 2, 3 in the league for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's debatable.
No.
Yet here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I mean, well, because I forget who is out, who's usually plays center. 1 second here. Rossi. So Rossi's out, who's a number 2 center, right? But then you have Hartman. I like Joel Eriksson. He's an Oilers killer.
Yeah.
Like if he usually has at least a point against them.
Yeah, everybody knows that name.
And then Mikko Sturm on their third line. So, I mean, that's
a good third line.
It's
I think, guys.
Yeah.
That's a
Tarasenko and Trenin. That's a
yeah.
good. Like you have a guy that can really score in Tarasenko.
Like if Minnesota comes into town and wins 2-1, is that surprising, or is that kind of what should be expected right now?
I think Reed was talking about Paul Maurice the other day.
Yeah, how he looks at the Florida Panthers.
How the game looks.
As long as it looks good or looks right.
And if it's a 2-1, I'm not overly upset about it. But if it's 2-1 game and it's the ice is completely tilted and there's not a lot of pushback and turnovers and things, then it's like, well, what were we doing there?
Sure.
So
one thing, we just mentioned Nuge, obviously was back in the lineup on Saturday, made an immediate impact. I mean, that turned out to be the game-winning goal. But the Oilers' power play has been phenomenal all season. Right now, they are at 30.2%. That's good for third in the NHL. Minnesota's penalty kill is at 79%, 22nd in the NHL. How much can you attribute to the Oilers? I mean, their power play was good before the return of Nuge, but going 2 for 2, that's the first time they've had 100% in a game where they've had more than one power play. How much can you attribute that to, the boys are back in town and getting the gang back together, Cass?
Well, it's Nuge and Hyman back, right?
True.
Because this is the first time
exactly.
This year we've had everybody back. Because Hyman being hurt, Nuge was in, but you had someone else in front of the net, and then Hyman was back and Nuge was out with the conky. I mean, it was really good before. Anytime you have McDavid and Draisaitl, you're probably going to have a decent power play. and Evan Bouchard with a good shot like that, you have then those 3. Like, as long as you have 3 out of the 5 regulars out there for the Oilers, your power play should be in the top 25% of the league. Should be in the top quarter of the league every year. Now, when they have everyone back and everyone's healthy and everyone's feeling good about themselves, to a certain extent, I mean, it's going to be one of the top 3 in the league, and it should be. It should be in the top 5 teams every single year with those guys until, for now, for the next number of years anyways. Like, it's there's too many options, and they're so comfortable with one another now that it's automatic in some ways. Now, they do get into issues when they try to force it to Draisaitl sometimes too much, like when they get too focused just on having to execute the one way, they struggle. But when they are moving the puck decently clean, there are so many options with those guys on the ice that they execute at a level that's hard for teams to deal with. And I mean, a big part of that is just having guys that are used to it. I mean, guys that have played years in it, guys that have had a lot of success with it, that are comfortable. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman are such huge parts of it that they do just make it better when they're back.
Gager, I wanted to ask you, as a goaltender, when you're on the penalty kill, which would you prefer? Would you prefer, bang, bang, crash in front of the net? Or would you prefer movement? And what I mean by movement is those cross ice, those seam pat, like the Nuge's goal there on the power play for I mean, that was just brilliant puck movement. Is that harder to defend than bodies in front of the net?
So I hated when there was more traffic, right? Because then I gotta worry about the shot, trying to find it, worry about the rebound, where I'm going to put it, right? And so very hard to control shots when you and rebounds when you can't see the puck. So that's what I would hate most. But what Cass said, if I you can kind of see that they're trying to force feed Draisaitl, right? And what we've seen in the past is goalies cheating like crazy on it. And even Decor on Saturday on Connor's goal, if you go back and watch the goal that Connor McDavid scored, his shoulders were completely turned.
Yeah.
And he was going, he's going to pass it to Draisaitl. And if Connor didn't a little bit hesitate because he wanted a better angle to pass it to Draisaitl, and then he looked at the goalie and was like, he's in the middle of the net, basically, right?
Yes,
What I'm saying is if I'm playing against the Edmonton Oilers, I'm kind of cheating a little bit on the Draisaitl side just because I know when McDavid has it, that's the first person he's going to look for. But to play against like if watching the Colorado Avalanche, they funnel so much to the net, right? And I find that way more. It's a lot more tiring because you're always battling to gain position. But if I know they're just trying to do one play all the time, yeah, sure, I can kind of see when that's happening.
Yeah, gives you a head start on it. Let's get into this show always flies by. You guys are too easy to talk to. Let's get into hire it or fire it for GS Construction. For over 50 years, GS Construction has been proud to serve our communities and work alongside incredible people. Every member of their team has their own story, but they all share one thing in common: a passion for the work we do. Visit www.gsconstruction.ca today. Gager, I'll start with you first and then hand it over to Cass for his answer. Hire it or fire it. Practice time is way more important than most fans, people would give it credit for.
I'm going to hire it because that was my era. Like, you practiced a lot more than you do now. I think it's through the goalie lens. If things aren't going well, allows you to kind of, tweak a few things and work on some things that maybe aren't going right. So yeah, I think it's really important.
Hire it because when you're only playing two guys as forwards 25 minutes a night and other guys are playing 11 minutes, 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 8 minutes a night, every single night, and you're playing every second day, it's just reps. It literally is just reps. It's touches and reps. And there's a reason that with little kids, it generally is better for them to play hockey in half ice, right? When they're playing games, because you touch the puck more often. And more touches leads to more reps, leads to more confidence, leads to better execution. So yes, it's incredibly important.
I mean, the Oilers for a while there were several games ahead of most other teams in the NHL. They had a very busy start to the year. And I'm not trying to look for excuses, but I would think that even as a professional athlete, you do need times to slow down. You do need times to slow and focus on, okay, this is our defensive zone structure. This is our breakout. And I think that's, I don't know if it's downplayed or missed, but even professional athletes still need practice time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I totally agree. You need to, again, work on things. And like I said, those repetitions, getting the puck, making those passes all the time, because just incorporating that muscle memory.
Yeah.
Right.
I should say not all professional athletes. Allen Iverson did not need practice. No. That was for sure. Hire it or fire it. I'll start with you, Cass. The Oilers 100% need to start putting together some serious winning streaks. 7-2-1 over a 10 game stretch or something like that. Hire it or fire it.
Hire it. They absolutely have to. You got to start stringing wins together. Now, I think if they went 7-3, 7-2-1, 6-3-1 or something in the next 10. Like if they're 3+ games over 500 in a 10-game stretch here, I think we can be thankful for that or happy with that. Like that's good. But to do that, you got to win 3 in a row. You got to win 4 in a row. Like you got to start stringing these games together. Absolutely, hire it.
Yeah, because if they do that, that means the I think all facets of their game are coming around too, right? You're not just going to win on just your specialty teams or 5-on-5 play. Everything's going to be kind of clicking. And one of the reasons that they're one game above 500 right now is this play of their specialty team. So if they can get a little bit better 5-on-5, Yeah, I think it will lead to a lot more success.
Gage, I'll start with you. Hire it or fire it. I just kind of came up with this one because it's just too juicy. We got to dive into it. In 3 games played, Connor Clattenburg has made more of an impact than the 26 games Trent Frederick has played.
I have to hire it. I had mentioned, I think he was although he didn't score, he had a great opportunity to score. It was too bad he didn't put that one away. But I thought he made his mark against the Seattle Kraken in such a small amount of ice time.
6:38 or something.
He made a difference every time he was on the ice. And in that, just in the handful of games that he's played, I've noticed him far more than the amount of time Trent Frederick was on the ice.
Fire it.
Oh, jeez.
I like it.
Yep. Because Frederick has had more of an impact.
In a negative way?
Just a negative impact.
Touche.
I like it, Cass. I thought if you just said fire it and just, that's it. Fire it.
Fire it. I don't like Joaquin.
That would be good. Cass, hire it or fire it. Does the parity of the Pacific Conference standings make it easier for the Oilers fan base to be less concerned?
Yes, hire it. Yep. I think with the parity of the division right now and how tight everything is, yes, because you haven't had like the 2 teams that are dominant. So there's more spots available still. Like you don't have people that are just running away with it. So yeah, I think it makes it easier because it's like they're still in it, right? They're still in it. They're still there. They're still in it. So yeah, hire it.
I'm going to fire it, but not because I hate Cass. I'm going to fire it because the teams that are ahead of the Edmonton Oilers, I think for an Edmonton Oilers fan, the arrogance of an Oilers fan is why are the Sharks ahead of us?
Good point.
Why are the Anaheim Ducks, the basement dwellers, ahead of us? They don't belong in this where they are right now. We should be there. So that's my reason.
Well, and I was going over this with Reed on our show yesterday, and I think that's why there's so much importance to trying to, not look too far ahead, but just start building something, whether it's 3 and 4 or 4 and 6, something that you can say, okay, this team is improving. Because you look at the last 10, they always have the stat line of the last 10, what the team's record is in the Pacific Division from top to bottom. Here's what it is: Anaheim 5-5-0, LA 6-1-3. Vegas 4-2-4, San Jose 5-5-0, Kraken 4-4-2, Oilers 5-4-1. I mean, there's nobody that's separating themselves. If one of these teams is to put together, like I said, a 7-2-1 stretch, they're going to catapult themselves because there's nobody's really taking off. So I think it does give the Oilers a chance still to really climb in the standings here. And of course, as Matthew Owanek always alludes to, it's not January yet. And January has proven to be one of their strongest months of the season. Okay. Did you guys see Jordan Binnington last night get pulled and have some words with his head coach on the bench?
I did not.
I saw him get pulled. I didn't see the words.
Yeah, no, his mask was on, but it was perceived as tensions were a little tight on the old Blues bench there. But fun fact, guys. Do you know what happened on this day, December 2nd, in 1995?
Patrick Waugh.
Oh, Joaquin Gage. If my soundboard worked, I would have given you a clapping. Yes, Montreal Canadiens coach Mario Tremblay leaves goaltender Patrick Waugh in the game way too long, allowing an embarrassing 9 goals in an 11-1 rout by the Detroit Red Wings. Patrick Waugh demands a trade, moves to Colorado Avalanche, and wins a Stanley Cup that season. Hire it or fire it, Gage. Was that one of the most remembered, goalie moments in NHL history?
Ooh, so greatest goalie pull, I would say, right?
Yeah. Because that was intense. Remember that was at the Forum, or was that what? Forum?
It was at the Forum because the brass used to sit right by the owners and everyone were right there.
No window there, but no glass. It was like weird to see that. Look back on it.
The only other one that I really can compare. There's probably another one that'll come to later, but Mike Keenan had a short leash on a lot of goaltenders, and he pulled Belfour one time, and Eddie went to the end of the bench, and it had like basically stick in hand, and he was saying something, and Keenan came down and grabbed him by the like was trying to talk to him and was saying something, and Keenan started pushing him, right? And like if you were to do that today, it would have been hilarious. Like he would have got fired probably. Abuse of a coach,
right?
That's the only other one that I think is burned into memory as like really bad pulls in that light. But I mean, gosh, to have the cojones of Patrick to go down like and fuming, and then pass him, go to the owner or the GM and say, I'm done here, trade or whatever he said, and then go back and look at, was it Mario Tremblay, the coach at the time, I believe, and then give him the stare down too as he went past him. Just iconic moment.
Brass balls. Oh. I mean, okay, Katz, I want to get to your answer first, but I want to, next. You know when you're getting pulled? Like, is it like this is happening?
It's, you know, if... maybe you will let into quick ones, but if you've made a save, like a couple saves, you might be okay. But I mean, if it's a real squeaker, you might give it a little side glance, right? And
you're looking at me.
You're basically looking if the coach is looking at you first. Like I remember letting a soft one in Minnesota, I think, and I looked over and Mac T was. If he could have came out on the ice and talked to me, I think he would have, because he was looking right at me. and then, but no, I stayed in and we won the game, so it was okay. But the true telltale sign is you look for your partner, and if he's stationary, you're usually okay. But if you can't see him, then you're done.
You know he's gone back down the tunnel. Cass, any goalie moments that stand out for you?
I didn't have any really good ones, like of goalies getting pulled that I was there. I mean, the Patrick Waugh one was a good one. I mean, when I think of goalie moments, I just think of like goalie fights. It's like like the Osgood and Waugh goalie fight. Like I think of those. I think of like the Cujo save, like those big moments, like where they make those big saves in the key moments. I think more of those. I don't know. Aside from the Waugh one, I don't know if I can think of any like really good goalies being pulled. Like, I don't know.
Well, we'll see if you have something to say about this then. And for those listening, watching, stay tuned here. EST Afternoons is coming up from 1 to 3. Then you will have the Reed Wilkins Show with myself and Reed from 3 to 6. Then you're going to have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show to get you all set for the Oilers taking on the Wild tonight. The pregame show is going to kick off at 6. Is that a 7 o'clock start time?
Ooh, I just had it up here. I think it is.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. So that GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show is going to kick off right here on Edmonton Sports Talk from 6 to 7 with Tom Gazzola and Benny Thompson. But I'm not sure if you guys heard on the morning show, our very own YouTube Trev is going on a first date tonight. And he's excited. He was taking advice on the morning show. Cass, do you have any first date stories and or advice that come to mind?
Both. I was gonna. She wasn't able to. I was gonna try to get my wife to come on because we had a pretty good first date. Our first date was a blind date. So we,
you were on Love Is Blind?
No. My wife was supposed to go on The Bachelor. I don't know if I ever told you guys that. True. Yeah, or I told you, Gage. I don't know if you knew that, Milne. They kept calling. We started dating, and the show producers of the show kept calling her. To be
and you're like, no, beat it, nerds.
No, I was telling her to go. I was like, go on the show, do it. I'm like, do it. I'm like, go on the show. I'm like, walk out of the limo, look at the guy, and then just be like, and get back in the limo. Yes. I'm like, you'd go down in history. I mean, that'd be like all the videos and memes and all this stuff, even though social media wasn't nearly as big back then. No, so it was a blind date. She tells the story. Now, she tells the story very, very different than I do. So we might have to save her perspective of it. But it was actually in November. So I had like late November, actually. So I had like full mustache from November. So it's like I had a full Fu Manchu. Like the thing was gross. I've been living out of the hotel. I hadn't have an apartment yet because I've been in Minnesota most of the start of the season, then got sent down. So I was still in a hotel in Houston. So I mean, I've done like laundry once, maybe, like, because you have to pay to get your laundry done. You didn't have a vehicle. Like, you're living literally out of your suitcase. And so I had on a wrinkled t-shirt because I couldn't do laundry. It was a nice t-shirt. At least I thought it was a nice t-shirt. I still have it. I've kept it as evidence, as proof. Now my wife would say, she would say that, she's like sitting there fretting over her outfit, like going through with her roommates, like picking what to wear, like looking for cute outfits and all this. And it's like, and I show up and she's like, and she would probably say, and this man walks around the corner with a full Fu Manchu, a pair of wrinkled jeans, a pair of Chucks, like Converse, like Chucks, and a see-through t-shirt. That's how she describes it, as a see-through t-shirt. She's like, and he was wearing a see-through t-shirt with bloody boxing gloves on it. And I was like, well, I mean, the boxing gloves, they're boxing gloves, so they are red, and they're like vintage boxing gloves. So it was like a nice printed t-shirt. It's actually one of the it probably was the nicest t-shirt I owned. Again, living out of a suitcase. So yeah, it was a little wrinkled, but it was like a white t-shirt with red, like vintage boxing gloves, like they're hung around your neck. It was a nice t-shirt. And apparently she was like, oh wow, this guy's t-shirt is see-through. Which I think at the end of it, maybe, sort of sealed the deal.
Showing off the pecs.
Yeah. It's basically like window shopping.
Showing off the goods, baby.
Exactly. She got to see my little I was going to say baby nipples, but I don't know if we're allowed to say that. So anyway, so we went blind date. The rest of the day actually went really well. Laughed a lot, which we still do. So that was kind of the best thing is I think I made a joke. And so this is what sold her on giving me a second date was we were sitting because she's got a little tattoo on her wrist. And so we're talking about tattoos. At the time, I didn't have any. And she's like, so I asked her about the tattoo and was explaining it. So she asked me if I'd ever get a tattoo. And I said, well, you know what? A lot of guys play. I'm interested in them. I've thought about them, haven't pulled the trigger. And I was like, but I've really been thinking. Some guys get sleeves, like tattoo sleeves. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I want a tattoo sleeve, but what I really want is I want to get a pair of tattoo shorts. I don't want a sleeve. I want tattoo shorts. Like basically get everything done. Legs and that. And it's just, she laughed. And then that was like, she was like, that joke got you a second date. So it was good. I've learned a lot since then. So my advice for Trev is to ask a lot of questions. Just be interested, practice active listening. And always remember, dating is an evaluation. Dating is an evaluation. It is a job interview, and an important job interview.
Yes.
You are evaluating them. And if you were going to hire somebody for a job, would you sit down and just talk about the company? No. You're going to sit down and you're going to ask that person questions about what they want out of life. That doesn't mean you have to dig too deep, too fast, but ask questions, Trev.
I like this.
And then you learn, like, well, it's true. It's a job. It is. Dating's an evaluation. It's a long interview process for the biggest decision. Arguably, actually, it probably is the biggest financial decision you'll make if it's something you decide to go down that partnership spouse route. Like, it's the biggest financial decision you're going to make. It's a big impact of if you have kids, like it's huge. So it's an evaluation. Treat it as such. That's my advice.
Well said.
My wife's got it. Like the way she tells that story makes me sound way worse than I did. But,
well, my advice to Trev was just be yourself. And if you're, they were saying, do
just less creepy.
Do you watch? Yeah, just shave the mustache, creepo. Do you watch the hockey game?
November.
I know it's December 2nd now. Yeah. You got to get rid of it. But and I said to Trev, if you're a hockey fan, then go somewhere, and you can't pretend you're not a hockey fan. Otherwise, that's going to get sussed out eventually. So
but you don't want it on in the corner though, because you don't want the wandering eye when she's talking. It
should be a focus, but then conversation can come out of that. But at least you have that as a backfall to say, because she's a hockey fan as well.
Oh, okay.
So who knows? We could be going to Trev's wedding in a matter of months. Koob, what is coming up on EST Afternoons, young man?
Yeah, lots to discuss. Gager and Hernan will preview the big game against the Wild tonight. Sean McIndoe from The Athletic and Puck Soup Podcast will join to go around the NHL, and Daniel Valente from The Score to chat some F1.
Packed show coming up right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere. If you haven't yet subscribed to Edmonton Sports Talk, please do. And if you haven't told your friends, tell them right now. On behalf of Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage, and myself, Jay Milne, the glue guy. Take care. We'll chat soon.